All right, thank you one more time. The program is still right here this morning on RTV on Independent Television. Now, if you are a parent, please sit back because this is actually for you. We are talking about the 2025 JAMB examination. Now, my daughter, my daughter about 2 days ago now, she has been, from 2 days ago, she has been on my neck. Daddy JAMB. Now, she's talking about that I should register her, for the Joint Admission and Matriculations Board Examination 2025. Well, I'm not saying that I'm not going to do that, but there are things that I need to know, and there are things that I also expect her to know. As it stands now, the Joint Admission ought to have begun registration yesterday, being 14th. But as it stands now, we are yet to see that. And also, too, we understand that last year, JAMB charged within the range of about 5,000 thereabouts for the registration. For this year, the amount has not been stipulated. But what we find in the public domain is that some of these guys that are into the business not with any bad intention. I didn't say it in any bad intention now. In the business of, trying to facilitate registration and all that, they're already charging, candidates, would-be candidates and, parents that pay 10,000 naira, pay 15,000 naira for this year's examination. Well, we are being joined this morning by a foremost educationist in Nigeria, talking about Mr. Peter Okungbawa, who doubles also as the proprietor of Cavalry Crown Academy. Mr. Peter, a very good morning to you. Welcome. I saw you smiling away when I said people be in the business. Now, I don't know. I was really not talking to you, but if you think I was talking to you, well, let that be. So what's up with the 2025 examination, the JAMB examination, the whole hula baloo? What's up with it? What is it all about?
Well, the expectation is that very serious-minded candidates have started preparation since last year. Unfortunately for us, we're noticing a trajectory that doesn't quite favor the very idea that students are actually preparing for the exams. We're seeing a situation where for the past 6-7 years, we've noticed that towards the end of the year where students should come to classes in numbers from August, even August last year, supposedly, you have a reasonable size of people in class pursuant to December when the class culminates for the end of the year to resume January of the new year, which is now 2025, let's say. Let me say that students who come to classes to learn are actually reducing by the day. And 2025 JAMB, as it is, it's going to be a wake-up call, as it's always been, given the fact that JAMB has essentially fortified their ranks. There are no issues or incidents of examination malpractice. The few ones that indulge get fished out in the end. So I believe that for those who are going to write the 2025 JAMB exams with the intention of gaining admission into the university in 2025 would have to have started practice, have to have started work towards this, because if you wrote the 2025 JAMB and you are unsuccessful at the level of gaining admission with it, you're not going to write the 2026 and gain admission in 2026. Your admission will be in 2027 because this admission now, this exam that's going to be writing now, they will resume class in 2026 according to the calendars as we have it today. So I want young people to know that why they think time is on their side, time is actually just on a flimsy move, and if you don't apprehend time and put it to proper use, you probably must have wasted time, as it were.
Joshua.
All right, so I really followed your analysis, and of course, my question would be why this sudden change in events, especially considering the fact that students who were supposed to prepare for the exam are not doing so right about now?
It's simply what we've always been talking about, incidents of malpractice, and very importantly, the infusion of internet fraud in the lives of our young people.
But not all could engage in that. So what proportion are you looking at in a scale of 1 to 10?
I'm looking at a staggering proportion. Let me not put it on a proportion, on a scale. Parents out there, people out there, society, we are living in Edo State, for example, where we know that the incidence of this thing is increasing by the day because it's paying. Now, how do you think young people ought to be focused on becoming doctors or lawyers or accountants or engineers who have now broken the step-by-step process of becoming somebody in life who can now become very wealthy as teenagers? How do you expect them to be interested in learning? How do you expect them to be that determined to write exams?
So where is the issue coming from? So we're looking at both the cause and the effect. So the effect is what you're talking about, but what actually is the reason behind it? What's the cause?
The propensity to want to get rich or die trying, and very importantly, the failure of government to identify that this generation of young persons actually need financial education alongside their received Western doctrine. The days are gone when you expect this young generation to go through. As difficult as it was in our time, we were able to go through university and have university education because our mentors in society were those who were professionals. I mean, seeing the likes of Tony Abolo on ITV as a younger person would give me the interest to want to be a broadcaster like him in the future. So I have to go through the ranks that he went through, which is necessary that I have to go through school and stuff like that. I saw medical doctors, they were the one using choice vehicles and dressing nice. I saw lawyers looking good, they were the one driving the choice vehicles and living, the average life. I saw accountants in the early millennium doing very well to the extent that bankers now use the name of the banks they work to replace their surname. I'm Charles from Zenith, Michael from Oceanic. I saw all of that. These created in me the very idea that for me to amount to anything, I have to go through the Rubicon of learning. I have to go through this fiery process. But today, who are the mentors? Mr. Can I tell you that most of the businesses you have in Benin, Nigeria today belongs to these guys who have been involved in fraud and fraud-related activity, and the police knows them. They are not hidden. Can I tell you today that there is no need for me now to go through the fiery process of writing JAMB, killing myself over university education? I remember those days in Uniben, we would sleep through the night in classroom just to get
candlelight reading.
You burn the candlelight. Yeah. It's normal because we were looking to getting the better life. But the better life waiting for us was that we had to go through this process. Today, that better life, they're shutting a carrier cone near them today with incidents of malpractice and yahoo yahoo. How do you expect such a generation to be studying, as it were? This accounts for the reduction, the massive reduction of number of persons in class learning. Don't you also, have you also studied the trajectory that in our higher institutions of learning, I think that the authorities in those higher institutions should ban students from bringing vehicles to school. Because they create something else in university environments.
But the university is supposed to be a social system where you mix up with both the high university, and mighty. So why would you now want to place a ban on people bringing
the university has never been a social system.
But bringing vehicles to the classroom got to do with acquiring education.
Is it the practice today that private universities in Nigeria are serious-minded, don't allow people bring cars to school? Yes, I can give you some examples if you want to hear it. So why should it be? Because they know that when they allow the social order to take preeminence over the academic order, the social order will defeat
But Peter, we're talking about modern time now. Vehicle necessarily is for convenience.
Vehicle is not just for convenience. I don't think a vehicle is a luxury. I think it's a necessity if it facilitates and makes your work better.
That's it.
In a university system, there are commuter service for moving students from point A to point B. They don't need to come and show off their flashy lifestyle. They are there to learn. It's because alongside the flashy lifestyle they come to show, other social vices just follow. What accounts for the high rate of prostitution among girls in the higher institution? Is it not for the fact that the boys who have the money to afford them are there with them?
Keeping with the Joneses.
It's just simply what it is. So you know, a situation where academic dexterity is no longer what it should be in a university system. A university system, sir, ought to be treated as a most sacred institution, not allowing some social vagrancies within campus, because you're trying to prepare future leaders. You want to prepare future leaders and allow them prepare themselves alongside the way you want them prepared. That will simply mean that the university system lacks a philosophy of what they want for these children to be, or what they want the younger generation to be. Okay. If we're intentional about raising leaders, we should now know that certain things cannot be allowed to be carried alongside.
All right, now let's look at, because what seems to, we're talking about the 2025 JAMB registration now. That JAMB has told us that from on the 14th yesterday.
15th yesterday.
Today is 15th now. 14th yesterday. 15th. That from on the 14th yesterday, the registration also have commenced. Now, as it stands now, we are yet to know how much candidates are going to be paying for this year's registration. Okay. Against the backdrop, Peter Okungbowa, I'm a parent now. Okay. I'm talking from, an experiential point of view. Against the backdrop that some of you guys in the business now, please don't be offended.
It's fine,
now.
I'm not.
Some of you guys in the business now have gone ahead to be taking 10,000 naira, 15,000 naira, from candidates, all in the name of registering, these candidates for the exam. Now, why all this?
Mr. Evans, it would be wrong for you to put it on us because we are not, tutorial centers are not licensed to do JAMB registration. And nobody has put a gun to your child's head to say you must do it at this point where there are licensed CBT centers.
But do you know how our children are already disturbing parents back home on this issue?
Well, I would say that all of this now boils down to the knowledge level as it concerns registration process. JAMB is yet to tell us what officially is obtainable. We're hoping they'll do that today. Today's 15th.
The amounts to be paid.
Yes, today's 15th of January.
Yeah.
And that's the exact date they said they would open the portal for online registration. So as of today, when we open the portal, we'll now see what the official rate should be. But if any person goes ahead to charge more than the official rates, I wouldn't want to say the person is being glutonic. I would say that the person has a service to render and he needs to be paid for that service.
When you say service to render, what exactly do you mean? I mean,
Mr. Evans,
yeah.
For example, if I left your child to go about her JAMB registration process, chances are your child is going to make a very costly mistake, the one that could cost that child the entire process. Okay, now basically, there are lots of factors that comes to play when it comes to this. So do you know some candidates actually don't know this right subject combinations for the course they want to go study? I'll give you a clear example. Most candidates who are aspiring for a social science course are doing mathematics when maths is not actually a course subject to social sciences, and maths is a challenge to them, thereby reducing their chances of doing very well in the exams. Maths is optional so long as it's a social science course that you have chosen. There's a difference between a social science course and a management science course. A management science course necessarily requires mathematics, economics, government, and English language as combinations for this. Now, when you put in a management science course as the course you've chosen, and the subject combination you put under are social science related, that admission is as toast. It's as good as waste.
But Peter Okumbowa, just quickly, Joshua, I beg your pardon now. Okay. Peter Okumbowa, now, what is going on? Because I know we're in the era of technology, online everything now, online registration. Now, you and I know, during my time, when I registered for the JAMB examination, there was a brochure. A brochure was given to me. Okay. That brochure was actually a booklet that contained, you know, all the information that I needed. Now, do we still have that now?
Yes, you do. You have it in e-format these days. They don't give out hard copies anymore because of the cost of printing. Even the recommended novel that your child must read for the English language is no longer given in hard copy. It's not given in soft copy.
All right. So rather than trying to act for JAMB now, you guys acting for JAMB, why don't you try to direct your candidate that, hey,
Mr. Evans,
go
have you
to
ever
Exos.
tried going through the brochure to actually now use the brochure standard to fill your forms and all of that? You'll be confused because most of the requirements from the universities are actually not updated in the brochures, as it were.
Oh, really?
Yes. There are new departments created by University of Benin today. Fantastic. Better than the existing departments because they have contemporary demand across the globe. So the University of Benin has risen to the occasion of bringing in these elements, these course elements into their university system.
So there are fundamental problems.
They are not quoted in this JAMB brochure because probably JAMB is not aware that the university has gone ahead to incorporate XYZ courses. So maybe next year or in 2 years' time is when they will now have this. They will now have the updated version. So you still need the consultants like us who will charge you for consultation.
Okay, so you have overemphasized your importance, especially with putting students through, especially those who are doing it for the first time, on how to go about it. For every value addition, does it mean that it has to cost an arm and a leg to be able to get through that process? Because you are sounding as a professional, know that. But does it have to cost an arm and a leg to get that done? That's what we're saying.
Mr. Joshua, I do not see this amounting to arms and legs like you put it, because if you look at the difference between, because what is officially obtainable as part of JAMB registration is not essentially the figures you quoted out, Mr. Evans Onokoke, a while ago.
No, last year, Peter, we can Google right here. Last year registration was at 5,000.
They were caveats. I think it was 5,500 naira.
Okay.
And there were caveats to the extent that that did not include the cost of the CBT exams if you were going to opt for the CBT exams. And if you're going to add the CBT exams, it came with an extra 2,500 naira. And that's basically what it is. Now, in the days when you needed to even get some additional materials, you pay for them. I remember there was once upon a time you pay for past questions to obtain the PDF format of JAMB past questions. So if you put all of that together, you see that it's not the traditional amount of money that you had just mentioned. Now, if you look at the traditional amount of money and what the guys like us will charge, you cannot put it on the same scale. That for me, my value in this could essentially mean that you will not make a mistake that will cost you the entire process versus what mistake, what could cost you. We're not even looking at quantifying what the financial implication of the errors you might make may cost. We're talking about the time that is going to slip you by. Again, another 1 year gone because you felt maybe you could fill the form yourself. There is no JAMB student today where I can assure you, sir, there's no JAMB student who can sit down and fill that form without making one mistake.
Oh,
there's
really?
no. Yes, because to start with, sir, many JAMB students are not knowledgeable to the extent that the names as you arranged it in your WAEC results is as important as the way you arrange it in your NIM or your JAMB portal. Because if you gave your surname differently on the column of middle name and you put it differently on the first name, when you are doing clearance, that admission is gone. It's gone because they will see it like as a different person. You know, if the names you presented to me in your NIM are 2 names, first and surname, and in your WAEC result are 3 names, when you're filling your JAMB, you now brought your middle name in. It's a problem. So our consultation goes as far as making sure that these factors are put into consideration. How many young persons are even aware that when you're filling in for medicine in University of Benin, for example, your result must be in one sitting in your O level? There are some who have gone as far as passing JAMB, doing very well in JAMB. They went for clearance in University of Benin, and they threw them out of College of Medicine because they were unaware that one sitting is required.
Okay, so what is the actual value? Putting it side by side with the official rate JAMB is giving as to what you are charging. Let's see how reasonable it is.
Mr. Joshua,
on an average level.
I've not told you I charge anything. What I'm saying is that...
You just said that
you're trying to protect whatever
right?
Any person... Just a moment, sir. Whatever any consultant will charge, to start with, there is no officialdom at the level of dealing with a consultant.
And at an average level.
I'm trying to make a point, sir.
I'm
trying to make a point that there is no officialdom at dealing with a consultant, and there is nothing that says you must consult one. You can still go ahead and do what you do. So I will not tell any consultant what they should put into consideration in what they should charge, but to be reasonable about it. If JAMB is charging 5,500 naira, your charges plus the internet process and everything, your charges should be reasonably between 8,005. 8,005 is friendly enough, you know, for such input of consultations that you will give, because our research efforts is that we go as far as telling you the courses that have been newly brought in, so that if this course you are going in for, the traffic in it may cost you a lot. Are you aware now, sir, that for you to go and study accounting is better, if you're consulting me, I'll advise you to study accounting education. You know why? Accounting education is a double horns.
That's
against what the candidate wants?
Like I said, it's not mandatory that you pick my advice. I'm just telling you part of our consultation effort, what it comes to. Now, if I told you that accounting education is better, the simple reason for that is that as an accounting educationist, you can still work as a full-time banker and become an ICANN certified. But as an accounting graduate, you cannot work in the education sector that requires the teaching of accounting. For example, I don't see why somebody who read accounting should be teaching in the higher institutions, teaching accounting in a higher institution, when somebody who read accounting education
is working in the back.
Yes, it should be working in the bank. So the one who read accounting education can work in the bank and still teach. But the one who read accounting strictly cannot teach.
Okay, now let's come off that now. Now let's talk about this bandwagon, situation, bandwagon registration situation, because that is what plays out when the registration starts.
Stressful. Starting from NIM.
It's stressful, but there are some gains that are agreeable to you guys now, because bandwagon, because some of the consultants that we have, they catch in the fact that, look, it is time to make money. I mean, if you can register 100 students, that's big money for you and all that. Now we know what goes along with all that now.
Mr. Evans Onokoge, are you aware that there is no licensed CBT platform by JAMB that can charge you a farthing above what JAMB has asked to be charged? Because it is JAMB that remunerates them. You don't pay them directly.
What about your consultancy?
These are private freelancers.
That's
who told you that you must go to a freelancer to go and get some consultation? I'm sure your child should talk to you now. You are a graduate. You should do it. You should sit the child down and fill the form for the child. So whatever mistake you make, both of your mistakes that have cost the child the admission. So when the worst happened, the child can say it was daddy that caused it. So you must not come to us You mustn't. You go to a CBT center, licensed CBT
CBT center.
Yes, that's where JAMB told you to go to. JAMB did say you should come to us. They told you to go to licensed CBT center. So what are you doing with me? So if you come to me, you say I'm going to bill you for the services that I render, because I know that the service that I render is important to the process that you want to go for.
You seem to be very much triggered when it comes to the cost implications.
Well, I'm not triggered as much as you are trying to make it sound. I'm just being realistic that it took a while for me to get the information I get. If it were in the public domain as such, it should be available to you. You won't be needing me. It took a lot for me to immerse myself in the aqua and ritual of what I know. You are paying me for my knowledge, and there is no fixed price for such, sir. So the much that can happen is that you can negotiate. You're free to negotiate.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all. So whoever comes, you build them according to assessment.
No, it's not. I don't build you according to assessments. More or less like you came in events, I'll give you a different price versus when you come on a Toyota Yaris. No,
you're talking about
I have a fixed price.
I
have a fixed price for my consultation service. So if you came to me, you'll be paying me for my consultation service, irrespective of your whatever is it or whoever you are, whatever how much you have. I don't care. So if you came to me and you want me to sit down with you and fill that form so that you don't go and make one mistake that will cost you an entire year.
All right, Joshua, Okunbowa, as we wrap up now, I want to talk more on what you said a while ago, what seems to be a fundamental problem. I mean, universities introducing new courses, new discipline, new departments and all that, then the joint admission is not even aware. I don't want to say that they are not aware, but their brochure is not updated to that. Of course. Talk on that.
Well, I think that the governing councils of universities, as regulated by the NUC, I do not think they have a marriage with JAMB as it were, until I think recently what brought them to a table of convergence was that the subject combinations that they're allowing is not in consonance with the faculties that the universities have. And also, there's also a recent marriage between JAMB and WAEC, given the fact that the O-level topics and courses should be the same. It shouldn't be different, particularly in subject areas like literature. The novels, the prose, and the drama should be the same with that of JAMB. There's been that marriage. Maybe, hopefully, in the future, there'll be a more robust marriage between the higher institutions of learning in Nigeria and the UTME or JAMB body as to recent updates, as it were. But I can tell you I know of about 5 courses that are newly introduced by University of Benin that are not in this brochure. Yeah, but hopefully when they open their portal today, we might have an updated version of the portal. But I'm telling you, as of last year's brochure released, those courses were not there.
All right, so I want to say thank you because we're getting signals from Lagos now where Anu is ready for her discussion segment. And I want to say very big thank you, Peter Okunbowa,
thank you for sharing
with us your consultancy knowledge, despite the fact that we are not paying. Thank you so much. All right, so please, for parents out there, I think you need to do more research. And please, for my young stars out there that are JAMB crazy, JAMB crazy, most especially those sitting for the first time, they are so crazy about it. Now, please calm down so that you don't make a very wrong, mistake. And, that's it.